Oh, we're live.
I'm alive.
I'm alive too. Can someone confirm they can hear us? Just waiting. Is that a yes, a no? Dead space. That I can't edit out. Yes, they can hear us. Fantastic. Okay, so this is our first live review. I don't know how this will go. I figured we could just do it like how we would normally do a review.
Okay, go ahead.
And then just go from there. The cat is terrorizing us. Mm-hmm. You should probably grab her.
This bitch.
Okay, ready?
Uh-huh.
That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Cape Fear, the 1962 film noir classic directed by J. Lee Thompson.
J. Lee Thompson has directed other things.
Many things, yeah.
Do I know any?
He directed a couple of Planet of the Apes. Oh, yeah. We had a movie night years ago for a film called Return from the Ashes, which I highly recommend. Christian Petzold made a loose remake in 2014 called Phoenix. And I remember you saying you liked that film.
I don't remember that.
He spent the last years of his career working heavily with Charles Bronson, including Death Wish 4. And some of those are kind of fun, like 10 to Midnight or Murphy's Law. But he did a couple Planet of the Apes sequel. He's probably best regarded for a 1961 film called The Guns of Navarone, starring Gregory Peck, which was the reason that he got to direct this film.
Okay. So I know there is a 2006 version of Cape Fear.
Oh, 1991.
Oh.
Let's try
1991. Okay.
Yes, Martin Scorsese remade this in 1991, which kind of fits perfectly in that cycle of white suburban families being terrorized, adult cinema of the period. And of course, that starred Robert De Niro, Nick Nolte, Jessica Lange, and Juliette Lewis in an Oscar-nominated performance as...
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Wait, the remake doesn't have Mark Wahlberg?
No, you're thinking Fear.
Oh, so I have not seen Cape Fear. I've seen Fear.
Wow.
That's with Mark Wahlberg on the...
And Reese Witherspoon.
Yes. So I've never seen the 1991 film, and I'd never seen the 1962 film. Okay. So I watched this movie. Mm-hmm. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, it's very good. It was not a hit at the time. Gregory Peck had a production company called Melville something Studios.
Pupo.
And not Melville Pupa, I think.
Pupa.
And that this kind of sank that production. It wasn't a hit. I think it's, from today's standards, maybe tame, but it's a very dark film. And I don't think middle-class America really knew what to do with it.
Okay, the basic story of the 1962 film I watched. So there's a man named Max
Cady,
played by Robert Mitchum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was in prison for 8 years for assaulting a woman. And the person who provided the testimony that got his ass sent to jail is played by who? Gregory Peck. He's Sam. Okay. So the opening of the film is Max, Robert Mitchum. He's out of prison and he is back in this town in Georgia. And he immediately finds Sam, the guy who gave the testimony. And he's basically like harassing him. And just to wrap this up very quickly, he tells him like his goal in harassing him is basically like he wants to like rape his daughter. And he'll get away with it because he knows these people are not going to subject their daughter to like the public trial and having to recount what happened to her. And, the bulk of the film is Sam trying to figure out what to do with Max. But I thought the best part of the writing of the story is that while Max was in prison, he learned all about the law. So he knows like exactly like how to push boundaries before he will get into trouble. So Sam comes up with this plan that he's going to entrap Max by taking his family to this like house in the swamps in Cape Fear. That will draw Max in. He will do something illegal and they'll have a sheriff there ready to arrest his ass. And it works. Max does go, but Max immediately kills the sheriff. And then Max switches things up and like acts like he's going to attack the wife But really, that was a way to get Sam away from his daughter. Max gets the daughter. And then there's a final showdown between Max and Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Sam gets the upper hand. He has the chance to kill him because he has a gun and he has shot him, not fatally. But then Sam says, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to make sure that you spend the rest of your life in prison, which is exactly what Max doesn't want. Because if 8 years drove his ass crazy, for sure, life in prison is like the ultimate punishment. The end. That is no, that's Glenn Close on your shirt.
Yeah, because from Fatal Attraction, who I thought was fitting for discussion of this film.
Okay. Should I go through my notes?
Sure.
Or do you have something to say?
Well, I was thought we could start with Robert Mitchum, who my favorite Robert Mitchum performance. He's a great villain. Is Night of the Hunter, of course. But we learned. I haven't watched this film in years, and we learned so much about him in the initial moments of introduction without any kind of dialogue. Because he walks into this courthouse, he's extremely rude to a woman on the stairs, and then he sees a black man who's the janitor, and he calls him daddy, which I thought was really interesting because later on in the film, Martin Balsam's police chief makes sure to denigrate him by calling Mitchum boy. So I thought that was an interesting way for him to show respect to this man in a way that I think probably flew over audiences.
Well, in juxtaposition of like, he has no respect for women.
No, not at all. And not at all, yes.
Yeah. So, okay. Max, there's an interesting scene where Max is at a bar, and this is after he's already approached Sam, and the police go and confront Max. And as they're taking him out of the bar to question him, he stops to flirt with a woman, like basically picking her up. I thought that was I just really liked Robert Mitchum in this role.
Yeah, he's
very bold. He's very confident.
That woman who he later assaults is played by Barrie Chase. She's still alive. She's about to be 90. And she's from things like It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. And she, but before he does that with her, he offers a waitress $20, insinuating to pay for sex. And that was the 1958 Playboy centerfold, Joan Stanley or Stakey.
Oh. See, now I'm getting distracted by comments. Thank you. Does Mitchum have tattoos?
Not like in Night of the Hunter.
No, I don't recall. Yeah.
He doesn't. You see him shirtless an awful lot.
That's right. So again, I really liked how Mitchum's character, Max, he knows the law, which I think at the end we can get to how I think this movie could be remade in modern time. But I found it very, very interesting how Max knew every little thing before the police. So an example would be, because the police chief is trying to come up with ways to arrest Max to get him out of town. So it's like, oh, well, he's a sex offender, so he has to register, or an ex-felon, so he has to register. And then they check, and he did register. And then they're like, well, we can get him for being a vagrant, depending on how much cash he has. So they grab his wallet, and they're like, oh, you only have $7. And Max is like, look again, check my bank book. He had a bunch of money. So just time and time again, Max is one step ahead of them, which was very satisfying, even though Max is the villain, because these cops ain't shit either. Like, and there's a really not fun, but interesting scene when the police chief tells Sam, because it's important to know Sam is a lawyer and kind of is close they're in a smaller town in the South. So of course, these good old boys, and then Sam's a lawyer, police chief. But the police chief tells him, like, at this point, I can't do shit, because Max hires a lawyer to basically threaten the police. Like, if you keep harassing my client, we're going to sue you. And the police are scared because this lawyer has successfully done this before. But yeah, like, he knew so much, which was very, very interesting. But the police chief tells Sam, we can't do anything, so you probably would be better off hiring a private detective, played by Telly Savalas. Kojak. And then that's when we see him with that lady he picks up at the bar. He beats her ass up, and he beat her up so bad she's scared to testify against him, which was the police's biggest chance to, like, arrest Max. I thought that was really creepy. It's very effective because we don't see any of the violence. Even the sexual assault is insinuated. We don't hear the word rape, obviously.
Well, they couldn't. The book that is based on by John D. MacDonald, which was called The Executioners, the character was like a rapist. And they weren't allowed to say that then because of the censorship code. but that's what the crux of this film is built on, because the Diane character is saying, like, I couldn't say what he did to me in public, and why Gregory Peck decides to initiate his plan is because my daughter can't be subjected to having to testify in public what happened to her.
Which is a common theme that's still relevant today,
Mm-hmm.
right? Many women don't come forth with, like making claims or accusations because they don't want to be dragged through the mud. So that is also really sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
That this woman or this family is kind of stuck because they don't want to subject their daughter to that. Okay. Name a Gregory Peck movie I know.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Okay.
Gentleman's Agreement. The Omen.
I didn't recognize him. I know his name, but I thought he sounded like the man who narrates The Twilight Zone.
Rod Serling. Yeah, he has a very distinct voice, and he almost always was kind of played a holier than thou type. Like, he's a priest in Keys to the Kingdom. To me, I always thought Gregory Peck was a little stiff, and even in this film, and that's what makes me gravitate towards liking the Mitchum character so much more, and ruining this very fragile ecosystem of the modern nuclear family, right? But he plays a really good villain in Boys from Brazil. Remember Joseph Mengele?
Yes.
You've seen that?
Mm-hmm.
He's excellent in that.
Oh.
But it's funny. This is right on the eve of winning his Oscar for playing Atticus Finch. But I think he's fine. He does his job. And I think he's written well enough for the period, as well as this man trying to kind of being forced to take matters into his own hands.
I doubt we'll make a review for the remake. I do want to watch it because I did like this movie, so I'm sure we would talk about it on the podcast.
De Niro's pretty good. I had a Jessica Lange phase, of course. So,
okay, so there's a scene where Sam is in court, like litigating an entirely unrelated trial, when someone comes in and says the police chief needs to talk to you, like while he's cross-examining someone. So he gets pulled out, and that's when we're introduced to Max hiring a lawyer to defend him. I thought that was a funny scene. Like, this couldn't wait.
Right.
That lawyer couldn't wait like 15 minutes for Sam to be finished. Oh, getting back to Gregory Peck being kind of tame. I thought it worked well because what is he supposed to do? We were talking earlier, like everyone talks big shit, like, oh, I would do this, I'll whoop your ass. People don't do anything. People are scared. If some person's out here harassing you, you're going to call the police and you're just going to wait for them to do something, and they won't, and you're just going to be scared. So I thought the characterization of Sam to me made sense, that this guy is really helpless because he's a lawyer. He knows if I try to retaliate against this man who hasn't done anything illegal, I'm going to be in trouble, which will ruin my family's life. So that did work for me. The actress who played the lady Max beat up, who was that?
Barrie Chase.
She had a really interesting look.
Yes.
But the scene where after she's been beat up and the police come and Telly Savalas, the private detective, is talking to her, she looks insane. Mm-hmm. I thought that was kind of campy.
Yeah, he reminds me of Corey Stoll, actually, in this. Maybe because he has a little bit of hair. Telly Savalas.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought because he's younger than when we normally see him.
Okay. So a couple of things I didn't like. One is the daughter.
Okay, Laurie Martin, who was in there was a television version of National Velvet from the Liz Taylor film that she was in.
To be just very blunt, I thought she looked weird, and I think she just looks weird. And then her dynamic, I understand because you told me that in the remake, Juliette Lewis plays this character, or it's written probably more like how I would have wanted it to be, which is like she's a little more aware of this man, and maybe there's some flirtation.
I remember there being some titillation with the De Niro character. Yes, and in this, she's coming out. It's 1962, but it's like she feels like a 50s composite of a teenager who really has kind of no agency whatsoever. But it's interesting. J. Lee Thompson wanted Haley Mills, but she was contracted, who's the original Parent Trap girl.
Well, I was thinking Haley Joel Osment. Go ahead.
No, Haley Mills, who was contracted to Disney, and she was in a previous J. Lee Thompson film called Tiger Bay, but he couldn't get her. But this is post Kubrick's Lolita, but I still think America was very uncomfortable with sexualizing teenagers in any way.
Of course, yeah, but I think the daughter just Her character, because she also, it's the way she's styled. She looks very mature, but she's like a kid.
She has like a 30-year-old woman's haircut, which is, of course, of the period, but she
Yeah.
looks old. And then her stature is very interesting, especially compared to Peck, who's very tall. There's one really good line where Mitchum is antagonizing Gregory Peck, and he says something like, "Oh, your daughter's turning out to be juicy, just like her mom."
I'm reading the comments. It's impressive how you remember the names of all these actors, directors, and writers. How do you do that? It's very much like Eternal Sunshine. No, A Beautiful Mind. I think Nick's special.
You know, he's schizophrenic in that.
I know what I'm saying.
And he was gay, and that was cut out of the movie.
I know what I'm saying.
Damn you, Ron Howard. Anyway, I don't think I have a photographic memory, but I have a decent memory for most things.
Well, someone's talking about the film Cicada.
Yeah, we liked that. We reviewed that.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Okay. See, now I'm getting distracted. Moving on.
Can we talk about the mother?
Oh, I like the mom.
I like Polly Bergen, who I'm used to seeing as kind of an older woman, because she's in John Waters' Crybaby. You've seen her in things, but it's kind of funny to see her so young, and she has great scared face. And
yes, yeah. She does a very good job of seeming scared, even when she confronts her husband, like, "Please don't go chase this man. You're going to get arrested." Like, a lot of it, more emotion than I would have expected.
Yes, and part of that is due to an excellent score from Bernard Herrmann, who's scored many of Hitchcock's greatest, like Psycho. Oh, the scene where Barrie Chase is assaulted. I believe that's the scene that's also filmed in the Psycho house.
Oh,
because this is 2 years after that movie. But Polly Bergen, I think, is really good.
Someone didn't like the mom. Why don't you like the mom? I'm curious. Yeah, I thought she exuded much more emotion than I would expect from a female character in her position, like upper middle class, Southern. Yeah, she seems a little more aggressive with her husband, which probably makes sense because he seems much more passive than I would have expected.
I think the over-the-topness is when Mitchum is assaulting her and she's making all those noises. But I think that was the only way they could convey, what was the fear and terror. Because if you have to think about this wife and daughter that are like holed up in this swamp, it's like they're just twiddling their thumbs, waiting to be attacked, waiting to be raped. And I don't, that would be some sleepless nights.
Who does she play in Crybaby?
She's one of the older women that are part of. I actually don't remember her exact. I haven't seen that movie in years either.
There's a really good scene because Robert Mitchum's character is just kind of like following everyone, and he's kind of just where this family is, so it's just unnerving. But there's a scene where the daughter is leaving school, and he sort of like rolls up on her. Oh, it says we're frozen. Are we still frozen? Can someone confirm that we're not frozen? Yeah, Robert Mitchum rolls up on the daughter, and she gets freaked out and like runs. So we see her running through the school, and then we hear who we think is Max following her, and he's wearing like dress shoes that are tapping on the floor. And I thought that was so well done, like the sound, and then us assuming that she's being chased. And then when we finally see who's following her, it's actually like an employee of the school. So when the daughter runs out of the school screaming, she runs into the arms of Max, which is even more creepy. And then she gets freaked out again and runs to the street and gets kind of hit by a car. She's not hurt. But yeah, I thought that was really well done.
That scene reminded me a little bit of Niagara and Marilyn Monroe running upstairs in that building away from Joseph Cotton.
There's a funny scene because Sam hires these thugs to beat up Max. So we see him like under the pier, like on the beach, getting beat up. For some reason, I thought that was funny. What did Nick think of Jessica Lange in the remake?
Well, I remember liking her, but I haven't seen that film in probably well over 20 years. So I'm kind of eager to rewatch that. But, probably as similar to Polly Bergen. But, that was, I think, right around the same time she did another film with De Niro, which was also a remake of a film noir, Night in the City.
Another plot point that I thought could have been better worked out is Telly Savalas, the private detective investigator, is like following Max. And I think it was a little too convenient. Like, how is he following him so easily? And like, I can see how. Or no, I'm sorry, vice versa. How is Max following the private detective? because we get a scene where he's like in the bushes with binoculars, and then the detective drives off, and he's still able to follow him.
Well, but the detective's aware of that too,
Right, but it just, well, yeah, that's a good point.
and it's also when he's on the river in the boat, like under those like patch of branches, and it's like we can see you.
Was the daughter supposed to be 18? No, I feel like she's supposed to.
She's 4. I don't remember how old she is.
Actually, I don't recall if they say her age. I assume she's supposed to be like 13, 14.
I thought she was 14 in my head, but
maybe they didn't say.
oh, another thing about Polly Bergen, she very much reminds me. She had an energy that was kind of like Joan Bennett, who's the star of several Fritz Lang films. She kind of had a throaty voice like that, like Scarlet Street, The Woman in the Window. She's in the Dark Shadows series. She was in the Suspiria original.
What do I know Jessica Lange from besides Feud?
You've seen Tootsie besides
Tootsie.
Feud.
Oh, that's her in Tootsie. Anyway, I was going to say, I recently I had watched some interviews she had done, like with Vanity Fair and
Jessica
Lange. And I really like her.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, like she seems very thoughtful when she speaks and seems very humble. And I thought she was beautiful. I know she's had work done, but at the point where I saw the interviews, like that time frame, it had settled well. So I thought she looked great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's in high school. Yeah, so I guess she's probably under 18. Okay. When they go out to the swamps, first of all, I was reading that Robert Mitchum had a bad experience
In Georgia.
Yeah,
he was on a chain gang.
Yeah, he was arrested as a teenager and forced to be on a chain gang. So he didn't want to shoot there. So like the swamp scenes where Cape Fear is are actually shot in Stockton, California. But anyway, those scenes were terrifying to me because, you know, I'm afraid of water and all the things in the water. And they're just wading the swamp water like there's no such thing as crocodiles. I thought that was very tense. The minute that poor sheriff,
Martin Balsam,
who accompanied them to Cape Fear.
I think that's just a cop. That's not the sheriff.
Oh, I thought the law enforcement agent who accompanies them to the Cape Fear. I felt bad for him because, you know, he just thought I'm gonna get some overtime. And then he gets done up so quickly.
Well, he's like putting mud on his face too. Like, why are you doing that?
I did think it was interesting when Max goes to attack the wife, she's making a lot. She's like moaning a lot, making a lot of sounds. I thought that was actually well done.
Well, I think that's the only way they could really convey several things, and maybe even in its way, J. Lee Thompson trying to show some titillation there as well. Because right before that is pretty good because apparently that was improvised where Mitchum cracks that egg and then rubs the juice into her. She's kind of like repulsed, but there's something about it that's, I don't know, intimate.
Yeah, someone just commented. So the scene where Max and Sam, towards the end, right before Sam comes up with the plan to lure or entrap Max, they meet at a bar. I thought that was a very good scene.
Yes.
Robert Mitchum is really good.
He's a very good villain. Yeah.
But yeah, when he describes because Sam offers him like $10,000, and then over the course of 2 years, if he stays away, he'll give them $10,000 more dollars. Yeah, and Max is like, no, I don't want that. I want like to basically make you feel how I felt spending 8 years in prison. Okay, one more thing I didn't love is the ending when Sam and Max are fighting. I think that dragged out a little too long, especially at the point where Sam is able to overtake Max by hitting him in the head with a rock. Mm-hmm. He just hits him and runs away.
Well, he's trying to get to his daughter who's sitting there like a dummy.
I know.
He's sitting there like a dummy, but then he kind of throws her.
I know, but just like every movie like that, it's like you should have just smashed his brains in.
But but again, he didn't want to kill him.
I know, but at that point, he would have been justified.
Sure.
Like you're risking, getting taken over again. But someone's asking me to pronounce unbeknownst. Oh, I think someone commented that it's not pronounced that way. How would you say that word?
Unbeknownst?
Unbeknownst?
Unbeknownst.
I think someone said you say it unbeknownst.
I don't know. Yeah, you do use that word a lot, though.
I can spell it. I know that. What else do I want to say?
I think I say it unbeknownst. Anyway.
Oh. Well, for those who missed it, it'll be available once.
It reminds me a lot of Unlawful Entry as well. From the early 90s with Kurt Russell and Madeline Stowe and Ray Liotta.
I don't think I've seen that.
Really?
I don't think so.
That's a fun watch.
That's all I have. What would you give this movie?
I think 4. I think it's really dark and subversive for an American film from the early 60s. I think it's Sam Leavitt, who won an Oscar for Shooting the Defiant Ones and did Anatomy of Murder for Preminger. I really like the cinematography. That scene where Polly Bergen's coming down the stairs and she mistakes that hat, or she thinks that hat hanging, that I think, yeah.
Look at all these 1962 films. So have I seen Lawrence of Arabia?
I don't know. Have you?
I thought we did. Then I haven't seen it. But have I seen Lolita? I've seen the remake.
You have the original. Oh, I love Shelley Winters in the original Lolita. Yeah.
Of course, To Kill a Mockingbird.
And James Mason.
We were going to watch The Manchurian Candidate, but everyone voted for this movie. And of course, I love Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Oh yeah, that's classic. To Kill a Mockingbird is very white savior-y. It doesn't quite live up to the novel, but Gregory Peck does give a great performance in that.
I definitely want to watch the remake. We are currently watching Dahmer on Netflix. We're on episode 6. We're more than halfway done with the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty heavy.
We'll talk about it on the podcast tomorrow, I'm sure. We'll probably finish it before tomorrow.
Yeah. It's a lot of time to spend with somebody that's difficult to spend time with, for sure.
Yeah. It's hard to get through, but not because it's not well done. The original or remake? Well, only Nick has seen both. Yeah, Dahmer's super heavy. I don't think I have anything else about this movie, unless anyone has questions, or we can end it. We can wait 3 more minutes. I'm tired of true crime. Oh, well, then they're doing the Dahmer tapes. So the first part of that was the John Wayne Gacy tapes. So now you know I'm gonna have to watch the Dahmer tapes.
I think it's the same guy too that did that and has done all those serial killer things, including that Ted Bundy movie with Zac Efron.
All right. Oh, bros, that review's dropping in like an hour and a half, so you'll see what we thought about it. That'll be interesting. Yeah, I'll save that for later.
I keep forgetting that was the title. I did see Speak No Evil. I reviewed it out of Sundance this year.
Oh, in the live we did, many people asked about Speak No Evil, and you didn't realize you had seen it.
Right.
But you have.
Yes, I have seen it. It's very Austrian. It feels a little bit like a Michael Haneke ripoff. And there is a certain turning point in that movie where I stopped caring about the family because they make such stupid decisions. But of course, that's the point of the movie, is taking like politeness to its illogical extremes. But the end is certainly effective and, dare I say, unforgettable, what happens to that family.
Someone's asking about, is The Patient that show with Steve Carell?
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Oh, someone's watching it. Not us, though. Dial M for Murder?
Yeah, Grace Kelly. Hitchcock.
Oh, yeah, we haven't reviewed that.
You should do a poll for a Hitchcock film.
Then maybe that. Well, I feel like we could probably do a live every week, maybe, and then we would just pick a category. So maybe next time it'll be like,
well, actually,
what is that genre of film with like Joan Crawford with the monster horror hags? Maybe like we'll do like.
Well, I actually put a list together of 5 films from the 70s from Black filmmakers that are not technically blaxploitation.
Oh, then we could do that next. Do you know these? Corpse the Poppy Zeep, right? These are all things I don't know. Famous British gay serial killer?
No.
Well, I'm definitely curious about that. We have not reviewed an anime film yet.
Animate, like Japanese anime or like an animated film?
Oh, the Netflix Whatever Happened to Baby. Are you talking about Feud, the Ryan Murphy series with Susan Sarandon and Jessica Lange? We did watch that.
God, that was like 2016.
Yeah.
I'm curious about Ryan Murphy's second season of Feud, which is about Truman Capote.
Hey. Oh, there's Kezia. I recognize names now. I recognize Tila.
I didn't care for Feud. I think they really bungled the Betty Davis character as a instead trying to provide a salvation for Joan Crawford, which I don't know that is ultimately necessary. But
Oh, you didn't care for her portrayal or that characterization.
I like Jessica Lange. I think her performance is good in it, but
well, no, who was Susan Sarandon was Betty Davis.
Yeah,
you said you didn't like the Betty Davis.
No,
character.
I think she's really underwhelming in that,
Oh.
despite kind of like looking like her.
I recall enjoying the series, but what's your favorite Fastbender film?
Oh God, Bitter Tears of Petra von Kant. That's in my top 10 of all time. I love that film. But certainly Ali, Fear Eats the Soul, World on a Wire, Fox and His Friends. I mean, oh God, Veronica Voss I absolutely love. And that's kind of Marriage of Maria Braun. That whole like what's the BRD trilogy is great.
Do you know Grave of the Fireflies? It's an anime movie.
I know of it. I've never seen that.
It's very dark but stunning.
That's why I hear.
I'm curious. Like, what does vlog mean? Like, how is a vlog? I'm asking because I'm old. How is a vlog different from like the video we're doing now? I'm curious.
I don't know.
Picnic at Hanging Rock.
I do love that film. We had a movie night for that when we lived in Echo Park.
I don't remember. Oh, that sounds familiar. I don't know what it's about.
I showed it. I did a double feature of that and Dogtooth.
Well, video logging, like what would people like? What would we do? Like, yeah, I don't understand. Like, what vlog is every? I don't know if I would. Yeah, I mean, the most I'll do is like take like Instagram stories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think our day-to-day lives are that interesting.
Well, usually we're watching movies and reading.
We're just busy, but I don't think we're doing anything that interesting.
Except for screaming at each other up and down the stairs.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of
Who's
shouting.
Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Yeah, there'll be a lot of shouting up and down the stairs. Oh, we're vlogging now. Okay, well. Yeah.
I did write
I don't know what the kids are doing.
I did write a script that was supposed to shoot last year in Serbia, but they weren't able to get their budget.
You did get paid though.
I did get a pittance.
Yeah. But well, who knows? It might still.
Well, I think they're recasting the principals except for Fanny Ardant, and they're trying to make it a French co-production. So I don't know how long that's going to take, but meaning if it's going to be a French coin, somebody has to rewrite like it's either 49 or 51% of the dialogue in French, which I could not do. So I don't know what's happening to it now. It's out of my hands.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, film festivals would require Nick do it, and he's not doing that. Like taking video of yourself at a film festival, he wouldn't.
I'm very bad at that because I'm very it's zipping back and forth all day long, and then writing a lot.
Yeah, and me, I don't. There'd be a lot of just sitting around.
Well, if you came because you would refuse to see a lot of the films, you could do all that stuff.
Yeah, if I attended, we'll see. I don't know which film festival I'd want to go to again, but Poppy Z Bright is the 90s Anne Rice, but edgier.
Exotica's about to come out on because I received the copy I think last week on Criterion Blu-ray.
Will you be watching the new Interview with a Vampire AMC series?
I'm sure eventually. I feel like I'm so behind on so many series that I want to watch, but yeah, I would. I mean, I remember sneak reading that book as a kid and wanting to be desperately to be Brad Pitt as Louis.
I feel like for as much as Nick talks about Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, we should probably maybe a podcast would be better for that.
Okay.
You could talk longer.
Well, you still haven't picked out this week's secret film either.
I haven't picked out this week's secret film. There were some suggestions, but then I'm really bad at writing down what I want to watch. So I don't know. We'll see. I have a few hours to decide what we're watching for tomorrow's podcast. People are saying nice things. Thank you. I'm trying to sell script for no buyers. I feel like we're just going to have to make a movie.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is, impossible. People do it, and we're smarter than most people. So, no. Well, no, I mean, people make, these lower budget independent films that are good quality. If we found a director and you write it, collaborate, raise money, I don't think it's impossible.
It's not impossible. It's just taking the time to do it and getting some money. How do you get through a film when you know within 10 minutes? I just have to get through it. Joseph won't.
Well, it depends. If it's like, if we're going to review it, then I think, let me try to find something funny to say about it. Or then I start thinking, let me pay attention so I can have something to say. But if it's a movie we're not reviewing, it's very hard for me to get through it. I will turn a movie off in a heartbeat. We do not have Letterboxd, but people have asked us so many times.
We need to do that because I've kept a spreadsheet since 2008 of what I have watched. So,
but then would the Letterboxd just be you? Because we could do that,
or both separate.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't work for me. I can't keep track of anything.
Normal People. I haven't seen that. That's with Paul Mescal, right? We're about to review After Sun.
Oh, I do recall being asked if we would watch the film Bandits.
Yes, with Cate Blanchett. I do. I haven't watched it in years, but we own it. I do really like it.
Well, maybe that could be your selection. Look at him. He doesn't want to. You want to be in control.
Homesick. Yeah, that's Anna Sawicki. I remember seeing that at Sundance. It's an incest movie, which is very dark. And especially, I remember thinking it's okay. I liked her previous film before that, which was, I think, was it called Together? Anyway, yeah, I have seen that.
Normal People on Hulu.
That's why I just asked it. I think that's with Paul Mescal. I haven't seen that.
I don't know. Thank you. I look for okay. When's your opinion on movies like? Is Terrifier the one with the guy who looks like a clown?
Which one?
There's a horror film called Terrifier. Is that the guy with like the creepy clown face?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I did watch an interview. Art the Clown. Yes. No, we have not.
No.
But I watched an interview with the guy who plays Art the Clown. And he's actually like a really sweet, like hipstery look dude kind of. So I'm curious to watch it just because the actor playing that person, if I'm thinking of the right thing, he seemed like a really cool guy. People are saying nice things.
I did see Jaws in 3D at a screening, and I thought that was a really cool experience. I thought it looked really good.
Oh, yeah. Tarsem Singh's 2006 movie, The Fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I referenced that regarding child performances on something recently. But yeah, I do like Lee Pace, and that's a very well-shot film. He's the guy that did The Cell with Jennifer Lopez.
Can you think of a movie that you were supposed to like but find it meh or worse?
The Fabelmans, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Is that movie out yet?
It won the People's Choice Awards out of TIFF, and it'll likely be nominated for Best Picture. It is a well-done movie about Spielberg's childhood, and I don't know why I should care, but it's there.
We do get asked about reviewing series or limited series. That one's kind of tough because it takes a lot of time, right? Like it's like 5 to 6 hours to watch it and then lots of notes. So every time we've reviewed like a series, which I think we've done it like 4 times, the YouTube videos are long. I mean, this video is long, but this is easy for us to do because I don't have to edit it. So once we hit end stream, it just goes up. But for me to edit like a 45-minute video and upload it takes hours. So I think if we do watch series or limited series, it's easier to talk about them on the podcast. Yeah.
James Cameron's Avatar. Yes, Sigourney Weaver is in it. I will, I'll see an early press screening, but any chance to see her. She has a new movie coming out September 30th called The Good House, by the way.
Which we reviewed already.
Yeah.
We have done video podcasts. If you have Anchor or Spotify, I think we have 3 or 4. All the ones where Nick was out of town and we had to do them via Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Those podcasts, like you can actually watch.
I think the last one I was getting kind of drunk on, but.
Oh, wow. Hard to tell.
The White Lotus, yes, we did watch. I did like much better than something like 9 Perfect Strangers.
Of course, Nick is excited for the new Avatar films because of Sigourney. Is there a classic movie you'd like to see remade?
You know what? Vanessa Williams once said Vanessa L. Williams, that she would love to have been given the chance to play Sadie Thompson
in
a remake of Sadie Thompson.
Oh,
Miss Sadie.
I'm not familiar.
It's one of my favorite Joan Crawford performances because there's 3 versions: Joan, Gloria Swanson, and Rita Hayworth. I'll play this character, and I think Vanessa L would be fun. Also, Monique, throughout their year, like over a decade ago, that she would have loved to play Claudine in a remake. That would be interesting.
I don't know that I need Monique to play Claudine, but I wouldn't mind seeing a remake of Claudine.
Sure. I mean, Diane Carroll is stunning, so
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's an interesting concept to me.
Someone noticed that on the YouTube videos, I introduce you and you introduce me, but on the podcast, we introduce ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that was trying to differentiate the platform.
No, I just think it's cute because no one has ever mentioned that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That was,
and I did it on purpose, thinking someone would notice. We did watch the Black Panther 2 trailer. Well, I know I did.
Yeah.
Oh, we saw it at a movie.
Yeah.
I thought it looks beautiful.
Yeah, of course, I'm looking forward to that for what it is. I usually don't like those kind of films, but I did like the first Black Panther, probably more than you did. Because for once, it's one of those films where it's like, oh, there's actually some substance and subtext going on here.
I think I was frustrated because I wanted Michael B. Jordan's plan to be enacted. But
I know, it's like, well, again, like Robert Mitchum in this film, it's like, why is he...
Yeah. Let's see here.
And I do like the cover of No Woman, No Cry that's in that.
A remake of The Birds. That could be fun.
There was supposed to be, years ago, Naomi Watts, I think, was attached.
Nick, have you watched Nothing based on the book by Jane Teller?
Nothing? No, I don't think so.
Have you guys watched Dark on Netflix?
Yeah, I feel like you did. Wasn't that German?
Oh, I did watch that movie.
Yeah,
Without
series,
You.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a series. Yeah, I did. Who told me to start it? Oh, on a cruise, one of the cruises I was on, this German guy was telling me, like, you have to watch this. And I did enjoy I didn't finish it.
Todd Haynes, Mildred Pierce. Yes, I have seen that. So Kate Winslet. Anything Todd Haynes, I'll watch.
The original's so good.
The original, it's hard to beat Joan Crawford, Eve Arden, and Vita. But that was fun. Kate Winslet's great.
I am not a Star Wars fan. What we're being asked, do you enjoy Star Wars?
Yeah.
I don't even remember watching any of them. He says I've watched all of them.
I did make you watch all of them before.
I don't recall watching these movies.
The Daisy Ridley one came out in 2015. And I think they hold a special place in my heart from childhood, much like the Indiana Jones films. And I think as a kid, I really liked the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi. But yeah, I think the first 3 still hold up. I think I'm getting a little tired of them as well. Like, we could move on.
My brother-in-law loves Star Wars.
Yes.
So shout out to him.
Species. I rewatched Species several years ago. That's Roger Spottiswoode, I think. I like Natasha Henstridge in it. I don't think the special effects hold up. And yeah, the pacing is definitely a little dull.
We have done a collaboration with 2 other video channels, which were fine, like fun. I do enjoy talking to other people. I would prefer to do it in person. Doing things like via Zoom is complicated. Even when we do it, I think we have good rhythm, but even over Zoom, there's a delay, and I don't like that. And so, yeah, I would enjoy doing something, or even like a podcast with other people, but we're all in the same room.
Mark Lynn Baker, he was just in a film that we saw as well from Perfect Strangers. I haven't seen She-Hulk. I heard that the lead is very Sigourney Weaver-esque, which makes me curious. But
do you ever think they will make a Call Me By Your Name 2?
Guadagnino keeps saying that he wants to.
I haven't seen Call Me By Your Name. I keep thinking I need to watch
Maybe
it.
That should be your secret film. Get that over with.
Ugh. Well, then I could talk about Timothée. I like What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, well, I've seen the film in some episodes sporadically, but yes.
I watched a lot of I've seen the movie and I watched a lot of the series because I used to watch it on the patio of our old house.
Yes. And that reminds me of, I should continue with Our Flag Means Death, which I was entertained by.
Okay. You talked about Splice.
Oh, I was talking about Species.
Oh, Splice.
Yeah, I remember that when you took me to that when we lived in Minnesota.
I took you to see Splice?
Yeah, I love Splice with Sarah Polley and Adrian Brody.
I don't remember that.
Oh, that's actually sitting in our favorites over here.
Guilty Pleasures. Crack. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do crack anymore.
Something that always comes to mind, because I don't think like Showgirls and Mommy Dearest have guilty pleasures or Boom, which are the failed art, which is there's nothing to be guilty about. I love those films. But something that is just trash, but I could watch any day of the week is like Long Kiss Goodnight.
I don't a guilty pleasure. My idea of like just
I love Looking for Mr. Goodbar with Diane Keaton. It is so gross and dark and weird, and I think holds up today for the like hookup culture.
10 Cloverfield Lane. That's with John Goodman.
Yeah,
I recall liking them.
yeah, it's fine.
I'm trying to get merchandise. I'm just so busy. I'm really trying. You can tell I'm not a good capitalist because it's not a priority, but I want it, so I am actively trying to do that. Cloverfield, okay.
Yes, I have seen Remember. Speaking of Adam McGowan, who did Exotica, yes, that I don't usually care for the recent spate of Adam McGowan films, but that is interesting. Where Plummer is, there's a twist because he's looking. We think he's looking for an old Nazi, but he's the old Nazi.
Did you talk about Remember with Christopher Plummer?
I just finished saying a sentence about that, so you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, when am I ever? Do you watch short films at these festivals? You don't ever watch short films.
Every now and then, I've known some people that have directed short films that make it to festivals, so of course I feel like I have to make a point to see them. But I find shorts hard to review, and they're also packaged. You know, you don't just go see one short; they're packaged together with 5 or 6 other ones. So.
You're trapped on a desert island and you can choose a fictional character from a film to keep you company. Who would you choose?
Ripley.
Oh gosh. I don't know why this just popped into my head, but what's the name of the plant from Little Shop of Horrors?
Audrey 2.
I don't know why.
Because
that doesn't make any sense.
Because they'd eat you?
I don't know. That just popped into my head.
Razor's Edge. That's based on a W. Somerset Maugham.
Have you heard of a movie called Lamora, Child of the Supernatural?
No. Oh, maybe actually. Felicia Journey. Yeah, that was Bob Hoskins. That's a decent going. That's like 1999 though.
Oh, that's interesting. There was a late night show in Australia in the 90s called Eat Carpet. It was a compilation of international short films. That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Best dystopian film?
Oh God, I'd have to think. There's so many good ones. Blade Runner, off the top of my head.
Would District 9 be a dystopian film? No.
No.
Oh, I'm not good at these kind of questions.
I mean, maybe.
Boogie Nights. Have I seen that?
Oh, you haven't seen Boogie Nights?
I don't know if I've seen.
Paul Thomas
I know
Anderson?
that it's Mark Wahlberg and there's a big penis in it.
A big fake one, but yeah, and Burt Reynolds is quite good, and Heather Graham and Julianne Moore. Great cast. Yeah.
You know what? Merch ideas, candles, box wine. Well, wouldn't that be amazing if I could get us into wine? Candles. You know, so sourcing candles is expensive, mainly for the packaging and shipping. But yeah, I love candles.
Razor. I haven't seen Razor's Edge. You know, the reason that Bill Murray got that made was because he agreed. He didn't want to do Ghostbusters.
Oh, I guess this District 9 would be dystopian for the aliens.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Recent horror films about the cults you'd remember, like Faults or The Invitation.
The Invitation, I do really like. Faults is fine. That's with Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Favorite John Hughes, probably Breakfast Club, which you've never seen.
We are watching Dahmer. We'll finish it probably by tomorrow morning, and then we'll talk about it on the podcast tomorrow.
Love Scanners. I'm a big Cronenberg fan. Oh wait, no, Yeah, what Screamers got stuck in my head for a minute too, which has not aged well. That was on Blu-ray recently.
Someone's saying that there's a video game called Alien Isolation, which is a really great alien film.
Yeah, I think
we're not gamers, but I'm not.
I believe Sigourney provided vocals for
that.
Yeah.
We're not gamers. I'd be more inclined to video game than Nick. I just don't know how. But if I had a friend who I could play video games with, I would. I thought about buying like a console, but I just don't. He wouldn't play with me, so it's like I don't know.
Well, maybe now. I don't know.
If we knew someone who would play with us, I guess I would. Like I would invest in a console.
Spirited Away. Yes, we both seen Spirited Away.
That was very good.
Mm-hmm.
The Shining. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Oh, my Insta stories. Yeah, I do. I really like Instagram. And TikTok. I'm not active on TikTok. I just think people are really funny. But Nick is not.
I think I
Nick's a
haven't.
creeper. He's not really.
No, I don't spend that much time.
Okay.
I don't. I think it's more of a timing thing than anything.
Okay, most rewatched movie. I have 4. So I used to have a studio where I did hair, and I would play movies on repeat, and those movies are Tu Wong Fu, Prometheus, and what's the movie with Lawrence Fishburne in space?
Event Horizon.
Event Horizon.
I do like that film.
Those 3 movies I've watched on repeat, and Mommy Dearest. I couldn't tell you a thing about Event Horizon or Prometheus, and I've probably watched them hundreds of times. What about you? What are some movies you've watched like on repeat?
God, well, the Alien series, of course. Like I can quote a lot of things in there, but it's rare that I went as a kid. I'd get fixated on things. Like I remember watching The Devil's Advocate for some reason, like 5 nights in a row, or strangely Dead Man Walking. I don't know why. It was a different time.
I don't need a console to play video games, PC games. That means like I stream them on my. I'm not tech savvy either. I don't know if I would need a computer that's powerful or like separate from. Can I run Photoshop and iMovie and play games on one computer? I don't know.
Up and coming actress. I don't really want to have most people on my body unless they've been around for a minute, but I still need to get a Sigourney tattoo. Actually,
Yes, you do.
And I've fantasized for years about an Eartha Kitt tattoo as well. But
will we be doing something for Halloween?
Joseph usually doesn't like to go out, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I did go out last year, and I was Kurt Cobain.
I wouldn't go out like on Halloween night. I would go to like a haunted house or like do a haunted hayride or.
Alien 3. I have a copy. They just William Gibson just published his script version of Alien 3 that didn't get made, which I'm actually very excited to read.
Nick buys most of these T-shirts from Redbubble.com.
Mm-hmm.
The Devil's Advocate, Alien, Every Weekend's a Kid, yes. Sports, no.
Devil's Advocate and Angel's Heart would be a great double feature. I just rewatched Angel Heart with Lisa Bonet.
We don't watch any sports.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you'll have ice skating on sometimes randomly.
Like Olympic,
very rare.
Yeah, like Olympic sports I'll watch, but yeah. If I had to choose like a major sport to watch in person, I'd probably choose basketball. That seems the most lively. And then I feel like the players are allowed to have more personality. I have watched baseball games. Like I've been to Dodger Stadium many years ago, and that felt tedious. Yeah. And like golf, I wouldn't.
Oh no.
Tennis could be fun, but no.
I'll watch films about them, and those are fine.
Sure.
Brandon Cronenberg, I hated his first film, Antiviral, but I really like Possessor, and I'm excited to see his new one with Alexander Skarsgård.
Oh, I can play this Alien Isolation on my iPad. Oh, rest in peace to my iPad that I broke last year.
Yeah.
I was so upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know I could buy another one, but...
it's usually not your style.
Oh, Damien has a simplified xenomorph on his back. I'd like to see a picture of that, actually. Halloween, yeah, we need to come up with a list of recommended horror films for Halloween.
Yeah, we'll probably do that.
Yeah, maybe in the beginning of October we'll make a video for horror films. How do you feel about Brandon Cronenberg?
I just answered that.
Oh. What's something that you guys are looking forward to next week? Like film-wise? What are we watching next week?
Next week is Smile.
And Smile.
The Inspection.
Yeah, because I'm skipping seeing Lady Bunny.
To see The Smile?
Well, I mean, I like Lady Bunny more than what I think The Smile would be, but...
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and Amsterdam, David O. Russell.
Okay. Oh, God, so many. Okay. I love that this has become like a tech session for me to figure out how to play video games. My personality is very much like I want someone to come and like set it up for me and show me, and then I'll do it.
The hair experiment threw me off too.
Oh, I thought about seeing Grace Jones at the Hollywood Bowl tonight, but she's performing,
yeah.
but she's not like the main. It's like a
That's right.
And then I thought like I was a little nervous that I wouldn't get enough of her. But if someone wants to take us, we'll go. We're free tonight, or I can open up our schedule to go see Grace Jones tonight. A merch idea could be styling hair pieces that you model. They'd have to be like Halloween wigs. Oh, someone else has tripped and shattered their iPad. That's exactly what I did. Nick, you are perfect the way you are. YouTube with the hair kind of threw me off. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I don't think you weren't wearing the hairpiece because you wanted hair as much as it was just I had asked you to do it because I wanted to try to play with like lace fronts that you have to like fit. So it was more of like a fun experiment.
I was definitely curious, but I was not feeling that fantasy. Like, it was so uncomfortable. Like I had trouble sleeping, and then I think, like, yeah, I know I've commented on this before. I felt kind of psychologically like I'm faking it, and I didn't like that feeling.
And then from my end, I felt a lot of anxiety, like, I wanted to look perfect, and then what if it looks like clockable, and and then because I kept looking at it, I could see like where that really, like, I could see the lace. It really bothered me.
I know, and he kept saying things. Joseph kept saying things like, "Oh, I like you better without the hair." So it's like, well, why am I doing this? I don't.
Well, it was just a fun experiment.
It was
sweet. They want to see your shirt. I'm gonna tilt this down. I'm not wearing pants. Hold on. There we go. Come to Vegas. I've been to Vegas many times. I lived in Vegas for 7 years. Yeah.
I'm excited for the menu. Anytime. Wait, that's Ray Fiennes and Anya Taylor-Joy. There's a new movie coming out with Toni Collette and Kathleen Turner for some reason that's making me think of too. But yeah, the menu, the preview, the trailer dropped for that recently. Alien Covenant, I did not like. It felt like Ridley Scott was just remaking the first Alien, and I hated, like, who thought it would be a good idea to send all these couples in space and all the weird problems that would cause.
Welcome to those who made it late. So Bob the Drag Queen did wear a unit, and I thought it was very well done. I did think it looked nice. But again, as someone who, I can imagine it feels weird to wear a piece knowing that, I mean, it's also like you're kind of vulnerable, right? Because at any moment.
Yes, Joanna Hogg's latest film, The Eternal Daughter, does feel like Mario Bava quite a bit. I really liked it. It's very low key and subtle, but I did really like that film.
Decade with the best hair. Ooh, wow. That's
yeah, I don't know.
For some reason, the 70s are hitting because I really like the natural look on textured hair. And then for people with straight hair, there was a lot of like, I like very simple, clean, like, I'm saying this right now. In general, I don't like middle parts with flat hair, but I think in the 70s, the way a lot of those ladies would wear, like I'm thinking like a Sissy Spacek and Carrie.
Or Jane Fonda and Klute, the shag.
Yeah, for some reason, I really like that. And then, 60s had the mod look towards the end, and I like kind of like the sort of chic mullety. So somewhere between like 65 and 75, I really like.
I think there was some fantastic ladies' hair in the 80s, though, too.
Oh, the 80s, yeah. But then the 80s for textured hair, we were still, weaves weren't quite where they needed to be.
That's true. That's true.
They're a lot of fun, but I don't know that it's not the best. Identify as introverts or extroverts. I just did a personality thing for like work on Thursday, and apparently I'm more of an extrovert, but I don't know because I enjoy my alone time. But maybe that's because I don't socialize much. So do you think you're an extrovert or an introvert?
I think I'm definitely more of an introvert, but there are extrovert tendencies on my, it's just always like, oh, it has to be on my terms.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Feathered. Yeah. We can't forget about the feathered hair. Agreed.
Farrah.
Someone likes the way you say the movie titles.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we're about to hit an hour, so we should probably stop because we have more things to work on.
That's true. We gotta film Till.
Yeah, we're making a review for Till and
After Sun.
Mm-hmm. But thank you for watching. I'm sure we'll do another one soon. Anything else you want to say?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Oh, so I'll end with our zodiac signs. We're both Scorpios. Ta-ta.